You're listening to Release Your Resistance with Bex Beltran, episode 40. Welcome to Release Your Resistance. This is Bex. The only reason why any of us don't have what we want in life is because of our own resistance. Right now, I'm learning how to recognize and release my resistance, and this podcast tells you how you can release your resistance so that you can live the exact life that you want. Let's get started. Have you ever wanted something so much you could taste it? That is a funny expression, but do you know what I mean? It's like having a craving for something and your mind and actions are totally consumed by it until you satisfy that craving. It's when this thing that you want is the only thing you can think about and talk about, and it's the topic your mind wanders to. It's the star of every movie in your head, and it plays both the role of the hero and the villain. The hero because you want it so much, and the villain because you don't have it yet. If you're still not sure what I'm talking about, or if this applies to you, think about a time when you were waiting for an answer from someone, waiting to find out the outcome of a situation, waiting to see the results of your own hard work. This urgent wanting can happen in all areas of your life. It can happen at work, wanting a project to be over, wanting to learn and master your role when you're in a new position, wanting to find out who was selected for that promotion that you interviewed for, or even just wanting a new position or promotion to open up so that you can apply for it. This wanting can also happen in your personal health and wellness. Once you've started eating healthy, you can want your unhealthy cravings to subside already. You want the numbers to decrease on the scale. You want your body to finally fit into that smaller size. During workouts, it can be wanting to be able to do that exercise already, or wanting to be able to do that many reps, or to be able to push yourself to that next level that you're reaching for. You want to see that progress that you have been working towards. In relationships, it can be wishing you would finally meet someone good, or waiting for someone to respond to your text, hoping for a magical question to be asked, agonizing over how long it will take to forgive someone or to be forgiven, thinking about when the tension or coldness will finally lift between the two of you. In your business, it could be about when you will finally get that next sale or sign your next client. It can be about when your podcast will finally gain traction or when your follower count on social media will increase. It can be wondering when you will feel comfortable introducing yourself and what you do confidently when you meet people. It can be waiting for the right time to promote your offer or raise your prices or launch your next thing. And there's 100 other ways this wanting can show up in your life, like having more money, the first day of vacation, when you get to see your long-lost friend again, waiting for a vaccine to be developed, for this season to transition into the next better season, even just waiting for the weekend. This wanting, this waiting, this wishing it would get here already is urgency. And the urgency represents resistance to your current reality. Oh, wow. Have you ever considered that your wanting or wishing for something that's not here yet could be a form of resistance? And I don't tell you this to blame or shame you. I tell you and myself this so that you and I am aware of some subliminal thoughts and beliefs. Once you're aware of them, you can decide what you want to do with those thoughts and beliefs. For example, if instead of resisting, if you accept or surrender to the current reality, you're open, you trust, there's no need to want or to struggle. This urgency we feel around these things that we want, that we are so hungry and desperate for, it is a kind of scarce thinking. When we are in scarcity, we are in fear that there is not enough. I want to share a few ways you can consider and explore what you're wanting and wishing for. Here's what you can think about when you notice yourself wanting things too quickly. The first point of exploration is to ask yourself, is it the journey or the destination? And then figure out, what are you telling yourself will happen at the destination? In order to surrender to your current reality, can you find value and acceptance in the journey, in your current reality, rather than telling yourself that the arrival at the destination will be so much better than now? And are we thinking that we will feel a certain way then in the future that we can't or don't feel right now here in the present? If you're looking for shortcuts or ways to speed up the process or to check out of the current journey, it may mean that you are not valuing your current learning and experience on this journey. To use a slightly related metaphor, one of my favorite teachers, Brooke, talks about how sometimes if you're heading somewhere on a bike, it would be faster, you would get to your destination faster if you stopped and took the time to get off the bike, get into a car and program the GPS. Then ride the rest of the way to where you're going in a clear path in a faster vehicle. And I love this metaphor as encouragement and permission to stop and efficiently strategize instead of just continuing in the same manner just because you've already gotten started in that manner. But on the other hand, what if you also had the option to just enjoy a leisurely bike ride and notice that going slower on a bike is not a problem? It's not a problem at all. What is the rush? Why give up a lovely bike ride in order to sit in a car? So all of what I've been sharing so far has been very vague and metaphorical and non-specific. Let's use a specific example. If you are in a new job or a new business and you hate feeling new and you're just so eager and anxious to finally feel competent and feel like you know what you're doing, your impatience at your own beginner level could be adding some stress to your learning process. Can you think of a way that instead of resisting being a beginner and not being as competent as you will be in 6 months or a year from now, can you allow yourself to be new in this role, to ask multiple questions, to make mistakes and allow all of that rather than reject it? And tell yourself, of course, I am going to have so many questions. I'm new. Of course, I am going to make mistakes. This is the first time I'm doing this. Of course, I am not going to feel 100% confident. I just started this and I have never done it before. That is the first area to explore. When you notice that you may be wanting something too quickly, you may be overlooking the value of the journey and just focusing on the destination. The second question you can ask yourself is very similar, and it is, what are you overlooking by looking ahead? Are you stifling yourself by staying in scarcity? When I was a teenager, my best friend Lisa and I used to love the Dr. Seuss book, Oh, the Places You'll Go. I think one of us must have gotten it as a graduation gift, and we loved the quirky art and the inspirational message of the book. One part of the book that we both related to so much and referred to it frequently in our conversations is the description of the waiting place. It is a dreary place where everyone is just waiting for their hair to grow, waiting for a wind to fly a kite, waiting for a fish to bite, waiting for a better break. In my late teens and early 20s, I actively believed in the waiting place so much, and I just accepted that it wasn't optional, that sometimes circumstances caused me to be waiting, and I had no options, no possibilities. I assumed everything was outside of my control because I believed that the waiting place was a stagnant state to be in. By looking ahead to see what I wanted, where I wanted to be, who I wanted to be, what I wanted to happen, instead of noticing where I was, who I already was, what was already happening around me, I was overlooking my own options and assuming that they were fixed, stagnant, and out of my control. I was overlooking my own possibilities. By believing in this stagnant waiting place, I assumed I was the victim of my circumstance. I was stifling myself with my scarcity outlook. It wasn't until years later that I realized that sad, depressing, confining, stifling waiting place wasn't even real. It was just a metaphor that I read about in a children's book and totally believed and acted upon. I remember times in my early adult life when I told myself, well, I'm in the waiting place, it sucks, but nothing I can do. I just need to wait it out and suffer. And that wasn't true at all. I can see now I probably had so many options that I was totally blind to. Yes, maybe whatever I was waiting on would take a set amount of time or an unknown amount of time, but that didn't mean it had to suck, or that there was nothing I could do in the meantime. It certainly didn't mean that I had to suffer. So right now, if you are noticing that you are in a hurry for a business to take off, or for circumstances to change, or for a situation to improve, or for fish to bite, or for wind to fly a kite, instead of feeling stuck where you are, can you feel free and expansive where you are? What if the current reality is exactly the right place to be in this moment, and it's not the waiting place? What if this place, this moment in time, has so many options and possibilities for you that you are not noticing because you're focused on what should or could happen? So that's the second point of exploration. Notice what you might be overlooking. And the third area to explore is to wonder if you are giving power to an event in the future that may not happen. Here is a disclaimer. This entire episode is really a reminder and invitation to myself, but I am hoping that you will also benefit from it. So here's what I've been dealing with this past few weeks. I'm getting ready to move from my current house to another house in a neighboring town, and I have lived in this current house for 13 years, and even though 4 years ago I did start embracing the concept of minimalism, and I have gone through some pretty significant purges and decluttering cycles, I still have so much stuff. So I am giving a lot of power to this upcoming move. I am telling myself it will be disruptive and uncomfortable, and that it will interrupt my routine and basically ruin my life. That's just a little example of how dramatic my primitive brain likes to be. I am noticing my own thoughts like, I wish this was done already. I don't want to take the time to go through everything because it will take so long. The new house is going to be a complete nightmare with all of our stuff in it, plus the mess of renovation all at the same time. And what I'm noticing is that I am definitely believing this upcoming move that is in the future, and I'm believing it has all the power over me. I am not valuing the moving process. My rush and urgency for this all to be done and over with is both a source and an outcome of resistance for me. So this is me giving my power to an event in the future that I am pretty sure will happen, but it hasn't happened yet. And I am just experiencing all of my imagined discomfort in advance. What if, instead of giving so much power to this disruptive move, if I just managed my mind every day about what I have going on for today and not for what will happen or might happen in 4 weeks? How ironic that my rush because of my thoughts about what could happen in 4 weeks is actually slowing me way down right now because it's creating so much resistance for me. Can you relate? Or have you experienced this at some point in your life? About a year ago, this topic must have been on my mind because I wrote in my journal one Friday morning, I am really into the idea of no rush and things take time. Can I let things unfold at their own speed without resistance to the reality that it isn't happening faster? And as I do that, can I enjoy and relax and be in the present moment with acceptance? I wrote about how I decided to apply that acceptance to 4 different areas in my life at the time. A work situation, paying off some debt that I had strategically taken on, knowing how and when to take the next step in my business, and the bathroom remodel that I was also dreading at the time, and it hadn't even started yet. And here I am, over a year later, the work situation completely resolved. I can barely even remember the drama that I was creating for myself. The debt completely paid off. I took the next steps in my business and figured out when and how to do it. And the bathroom remodel was completed and turned out beautifully. So I want to apply that acceptance to this move that I am creating so much drama about for myself right now. I can notice that I can just enjoy and relax and just be in the present moment with acceptance, not so much resistance. And I can remind myself that a year from now, I'll probably look back at myself now and think, what was her rush? Why was she in such a hurry? Why so much resistance? Do you think it would be helpful for you to apply these questions and explorations to your own areas of urgency in your life right now? Can you see possibility? Can you see value in the journey? Or can you recognize the futility of slowing yourself down with your own resistance? Before we go, I'll share one more personal experience that happened earlier this year in February 2020. I also found this as I was rereading my old journal entries, my favorite novel to read, the one I wrote for myself about myself, except it's more of a memoir because it's nonfiction. Anyhow, here is what I wrote. I want to do so much. I want to start visiting mom and dad more frequently. I want to write content every day. I want to spend time with my friends. I want to take advantage of the training I'm enrolled in right now. I want to have a day off. I want to do well in my work. I want to redo my vision board. I want to organize an event for March, and I want to research this topic that I'm curious about. And even writing that last part, I exhaled after it because I was getting myself caught up in what I wanted to do. How can I feel so abundant about time? There is infinite time. Time is infinite. The right things will rise to the surface if I stay in alignment. Time is infinite and everything will happen in its own time. All the things I want to do are an example of abundance for me. a reminder that so much is available to me, and there is no threat or danger. If 0 of those things happen, my life will still be perfect and enjoyable, delightful and interesting and engaging, because something else will happen. So either I'll do one or some or all or none of what I'm expecting to do, and it will all be great. If you want, I can even help you with this. You can get coached by me through this whole process of noticing what you are currently in a hurry for and where you might have some unexamined resistance that's actually slowing you down. If you are feeling hopeful or curious about this right now, stop what you're doing and go to my website at bexb.org and look for the button that says Work with Me and schedule some time for us to talk. I have plenty of times that you can choose from, and if none of those work, just send me an email and we will work it out. My email is hi@bexb.org. You can either do a free exercise with me on the phone where we will look at different areas of your life to find out how coaching can be the most beneficial for you, or you can just sign up for a one-off coaching session or even sign up for a monthly coaching package. And this week, if you are on my email list, meaning you are one of my favorite people, and if I already have your mailing address, I sent you a postcard in the mail with a reminder about this week's topic. If I don't have your mailing address yet, there is a link in this week's email so that you can give me your address and then I will still send you that postcard. And if you're not on my email list yet, make sure to join today at bexb.org/favorites. So you will always get the fun extra things that I send out to my email list along with each week's new episode. Thank you so much for listening. Have a slow, relaxing, enjoyable week, and I will talk to you next Friday. This has been Release Your Resistance. Thank you for listening. If you like this podcast, make sure you're subscribed and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, think about someone who you know who would love this episode and share it with them. There should be a share button on your app if you're listening to this on your phone. If you'd like to continue this conversation one-on-one or in real time, come visit me on my site at bexb.org to see how we can work together.